What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video here on my YouTube channel. And for those of you that are new around here and don't know who I am, my name is Aaron. I create travel photography and videography based content here on YouTube. So if that is something that you are interested in, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. But as you can tell by the title, today is going to be another Interrail video, and it's basically going to be a Q&A based on the Interrail questions that I get asked regularly on my YouTube and Instagram accounts. So if you do find any of this video useful, be sure to let me know by leaving a like at any time and put any comments or questions about Interrail in the comment section, and I'll be sure to answer them. And obviously check out the rest of my Interrail content. There will be a link on screen right now to the playlist. But let's just jump straight to it. Okay, so the first question that I get asked regularly is, does my Interrail pass grant me access to every single train, and is it free? The answer to that is no. Some trains do actually require reservation. However, if it does not require reservation, then the answer is yes. Whilst it can be optional to reserve on some trains, you don't actually have to. So once you have that Interrail pass, you can technically get on any train within Europe, providing it is not down on the Interrail website as requiring a reservation. So whilst it doesn't grant you access to every single train, it is the majority of them. And then to follow on from that, another question that I get asked regularly is, are there any additional costs to having the Interrail pass as well? And obviously the only additional cost is if you want to get insurance, which is when you book, you can insure your ticket. So if you do lose it or it gets stolen, you know, you're covered and they'll send you out a replacement one. And then reservations, and I've mentioned all about the reservations in the video that is linked on screen right now, but they are the only two other costs that you will be required to pay once you've purchased your Interrail ticket. Now, another big question that I get asked is, do I use Interrail or Eurail? So there's obviously two separate websites. Now, Interrail are for EU citizens, so if you're part of the European Union, then use the Interrail website. And then obviously if you're from anywhere else in the world which is non-EU, then you do use the Eurail website. Confusing, but it'll be on screen, and obviously I'll direct you to which is which. Basically, if you're from Europe, Interrail; if you're not, Eurail. Now, another big question is, how much will I spend? And I've actually spoke about that in a video on my channel, so I will link to it. Now, there is rough guidelines on there, but I don't give an exact figure, but go and check that out if that is one of your questions. Now, another big question is, how does the inward and outward journey work, or outbound and inbound journey work? And it's basically, you can use your Interrail pass to leave your country, and it's as simple as that. So if you're in Spain, you can use your pass to get out of the country on the day that your travel starts. Obviously, once you're interrailing, you can't use it within your country, but you can use it to get out and obviously to get back in. Now, Britain is different. This is where I get a lot of the questions, and it is, can I use my Interrail pass on the Eurostar? You can't. You can use it and get a reservation, but you can't just get on the Eurostar and use your Interrail pass for free. And obviously, if you want to get flights to Europe, then obviously you can use your Interrail pass to get the train station to get to the airport if you need to do that. But in terms of the Eurostar, you do have to reserve. Now, to follow on from that, another big question I get asked is, can I use my Interrail pass on the Eurostar? And as I just mentioned, you can, but you do have to reserve, and it is a required reservation. It's not an optional one. I do believe the Eurostar runs from London to Brussels, Paris, and now Amsterdam. So, you know, they are four key places that people do tend to visit if they are interrailing. So it is a great option, but you do need to reserve. So I would check up on the reservation fees if you plan to do so. Now, another big question is, how far in advance should I book my Interrail trip? Now, in terms of actually booking your Interrail pass, I'll book it as soon as you can, really, you know, a couple of months in advance, because then you can plan, you can get your pack, you can get your pass, you can get your map. You get an Interrail map when you book through Interrail, so obviously you can start to look at the destinations you want to visit. So I'll book that as far as in advance as I can, and then in terms of reservations, you do that closer to the time. On busy journeys, I'd reserve a couple of weeks in advance, and then obviously the less quiet ones, I'd actually just reserve when you're there at the train station a couple of days before you plan to leave. Another question I get regularly is, where would you recommend to go? And once again, I have made a video about that on my channel. There's only a couple of recommendations that I give. I could recommend tons of places, but my top 5 destinations video is perfect for you guys this summer, so go and check that out. Again, there will be a link on screen right now. Now, another big question, which I never really got my head around until I actually read it either, but it's actually quite logistical, and it is, how do travel days work? And basically, a travel day is basically when you start to use your Interrail pass on a certain day, then that is classed as a travel day, and obviously you can make as many journeys as you want within that day and it's classed as a travel day. If you go on to a second day, then it does count as a second day, a second travel day, because obviously some passes are restricted on the amount of travel days you do get. Now, night trains are interesting ones. If you board the night train after 7 p.m, the 7 p.m. rule kicks in, which basically means you are only counted for 1 day's worth of travel, whereas if it's before 7 p.m, then it's classed as 2 days worth of travel. So do bear that in mind if you are using night trains. And to follow on from that, a lot of people do actually ask me, how do night trains work and are they safe? And my answer is yes, they are completely safe, and obviously they work very, very well. I took a couple of night trains. Now, if you do get a room which basically has beds in, obviously you can have your own private room if you're traveling with friends, or you can actually get a single room if that's your preference, or you can obviously get like a dorm room where there's like 6 beds stacked on top of each other in a room, and basically you reserve them type of rooms, so you do get a paper ticket and it will tell you which carriage you need to be on and then which room you're actually in. And the room's very, very safe. You have a lock inside, you get quite a bit of space. It's obviously not lots because you are on a train, but it's enough for your own personal space. And obviously there's bathrooms and stuff like that. There's showers on most of them, so if you do want to get a shower in the morning, then obviously you can do be respectful. Don't try and hop in the shower at like 4 or 5 a.m. if you are an earlier stop. And obviously there's types of food and stuff like that. There's obviously carriages which do sell food and stuff like that. So night trains are a very, very good option and a very, very affordable option, and I speak more about night trains in the video linked on screen right now. Another question is, can I make reservations at the train station or do I have to do it online? Now, you can do both, but as I said before, I would advise only making reservations at the train station if it's a couple of days before and it's not on a busy journey. And obviously night trains I also booked prior to my trip, so this ticket actually got sent to my house. Now, in terms of is it possible to actually book them at the train station, it's actually very easy. Just go to the ticket information place and there'll basically be separate sections, I'd say, for domestic and then international train journeys. So obviously pick accordingly. If you're just traveling within Germany or within Spain, it's domestic. If you're traveling to a different country, then it's obviously international. And speaking of Germany, Germany are actually really, really good when it comes to Interrail, and they have their own interrailing section at the ticket information office, and obviously everyone speaks really good English, so that is a really, really useful thing to know if you are traveling through Germany. Another big question I get is, what are the trains like? Do you have any tips? Are they safe? Well, I've actually done a video on that recently, so again, go and check out the linked video that will be on screen right now, and it just talks you through tips that you can use basically when you are on the train. It forgets everything else to do with Interrailing. It's simply when you are on the train, so that is a video that you must watch if you are concerned about how the trains work. And then one of the final questions I get is it actually easy to figure out where you're going on the train station at the train platform? Can you actually read what's going on, or is it all in a foreign language? And to be honest, if you use the Interrail app, most of the trains will have train codes, and then when you get to the train station, you just look for the code on the platform board. Or another easy way is just to sort it by time. Obviously, they're all in time order, so just check what time your train is, go to that, and then you can look at the destination. Whilst everything else may be in a foreign language, it's pretty obvious if the train is going to Budapest, it's pretty obvious if the train is going to Prague. Just look for that destination which matches your time, and then, it's pretty straightforward. There will just be a number or a letter, and that's the platform that you need to go to, and then everything else is signposted, and it doesn't really matter if it's in a foreign language, because 11 in terms of numbers is the same all around the world. And then one bonus tip with that is actually check the platforms on your phone before you actually have to change trains. If you're making a journey where you do have to change trains during the journey, check the platform on your phone online, and then you can make the quick dash to actually catch your train, so you're not panicking when you get to the train station. But that is all for this video. If you have enjoyed, be sure to let me know by leaving a like on the video, put any comments or questions down below. And as I said, check out the rest of the Interrail playlist. There is obviously lots of Interrail videos on my channel, and there's going to be more coming shortly, which includes a packing list and a packing guide for Interrailing and the best backpack for traveling. That will be coming very, very shortly to the channel. But thank you for watching, guys. Till next time, goodbye.